Today I'm interviewing my grandma.
Hi, I'm Cynthia. I'm Mia's grandma.
So you study art, right?
Well, I did start studying art, but really, when I really started doing art was when I was 9 years old, when I was in 4-H. I took a charcoal drawing class, and I loved it. So I decided I'd study art in college, but then I thought, you know what, how am I going to make money as an artist? I never thought about being a teacher, an art teacher, and so I studied landscape architecture.
What was the name of your college you went to?
Well, I went to Michigan State University for my undergraduate degree in landscape architecture. And then later I went to, about 7 years after I graduated, I went to graduate school at the University of Michigan. And I studied landscape architecture again.
Do your kids like doing art?
Well, I don't think they like doing art as much as I like doing art. They did art in school mostly, but they didn't really do as much art as like you and I do art together. You enjoy it at home.
So did you tell your mom that you wanted to do the art class, or did she sign you up?
Well, we were new to our town, which is here in Chelsea, and I think she just wanted us to get involved with something. And 4-H was, since we lived in the country, 4-H was something that a lot of people did back then. And one of the local ladies was teaching the 4-H class in drawing, and so my mom just signed me up.
Did you go to school to do art?
Well, I started out in college doing art, but then I thought, well, gosh, I should have a job. And so I picked landscape architecture instead, although I could have picked an art teacher, and it didn't even occur to me at the time.
Do you think landscape architect combined you to do things that you love to do?
Yeah, I thought that landscape architecture would combine designing things with being outside. I loved plants and like earth science type stuff, and I loved art. So I thought, oh, that's the perfect thing to do. And so yeah, that's what I've done for 35 years.
What do you like to do outside? Do you like to do art, and like if you do you like to do art in different kinds of ways outside?
Yes, I like doing art in mainly 2 ways outside. Well, of course I like being outside. I could do any kind of art outside really, but mostly I like to do watercolor painting outside, which I learned from Mignonette Chang. She was a professor at Michigan State, not at Michigan State, I'm sorry, at University of Michigan. And I went on a trip to Italy with her and a bunch of other students, and we painted in Italy outside, and it was just wonderful. And so I love that. And then the other thing is I like to take plants and take cuttings of flowers and leaves and things, and then I press it in paper. I wet the paper and put some other like chemicals with the paper, and just natural things. And then I boil it in water, and then after a while you take it out and the plants leave behind their imprint. It's like called botanical printing. That's really fun too.
Do you think that's your favorite kind of art you like to do?
Well, you know what my favorite kind of art I like to do is things that I don't know how they're going to turn out. So I really like the botanical printing because all I can do is take the plants that I know are going to leave their dye behind, but I never know how it's going to look exactly. So any kind of art that I can't control the outcome is the kind of art I like to do. I like the process of making it. It's not so much about the end result for me.
Do you like to read about art?
Oh yes, I like to study various artists from the past and people who are maybe making art today. I like to watch YouTube videos from different artists, and I love getting books about art and how to do things in art, new ideas, especially like I said, things where I don't know how it's going to turn out, where I can't control the process. That's kind of my favorite kind of art.
Have you ever taught any art classes?
Actually, I have. I taught at the University of Michigan when I was in graduate school. I was a graphic communication teaching assistant. And then later, after I graduated, they asked me to come back to the program as a guest instructor. So I taught some of the other students that were learning landscape architecture for the first time in a class called graphic communication, which is where you learn how to do drawings to communicate your design ideas to your clients. Although nowadays, back then, and when I went to school the first time, everything was done by hand. Now people use computers a lot, but it's really important to be able to learn how to draw with your hand, because there's this connection between your brain, your eyes, and your hand that you kind of can't replicate on a computer. So I also did demonstrations for a company called Marva Yoshida, which they make markers and pencils, colored pencils, and some other art supplies. But they asked me to come and do some demonstrating when all the coloring book craze was going on. It was before you were born. In about 2015, all of a sudden adult coloring books were super popular. And so I created a couple of coloring books and I sold them on Amazon. And then I got asked to work at these craft and hobby shows demonstrating my coloring books with their markers and pens. And so that was kind of like teaching. Actually, I did teach a class for them. They had me teach one session 1 year at a class. So yeah, I've taught a few times. Okay.
You obviously love art. Why do you think you do love art?
Well, I think that all human beings are meant to be creative in some way. In my case, as much as I love music, I'm definitely not a musician. And, you know, I'm not really a sports person. I think that's kind of artistic in some ways. And of course, dance and theater are also artistic. But for me, I was drawn to making art, and it is about the making of the art. It's not like the finished piece. For me, it's like a process of like stopping this like talking that goes on in your head. You know how you have a voice inside your head all the time talking to you. And a lot of people do meditation, or they do yoga and things like that, or they exercise to try to relax and calm themselves or feel better about things if they're feeling anxious. And so for me, art does that. Like it stops all the, if I'm upset or if I'm anxious or if I feel overwhelmed, art, when I make art, it makes me feel better. And then it's not about what I produce at the end. It's more about like how I feel in the process, in the making of the art. So yeah, that's why I love art.
Well, I know Mom likes to do meditation, and that helps her relax. Does that work for you?
Well, it really never did. Like I never could like just sit there. I tried it. I tried sitting there and trying to empty my mind of thoughts, and I really did not do well with that. But what worked for me was making art. So like doing a little drawing, getting out some paints, or making a collage, any of those things. Just the act of playing with those materials helps me. So I guess it's kind of meditative that way. And also like crochet. You know how much I like crochet.
Yeah.
Crochet is very, to me, that's a meditation, you know, making something like crochet or sewing. We have our Thanksgiving dress. What is it?
A Thanksgiving dress.
Tradition. That's the word I was looking for. Our Thanksgiving dress tradition, where I make you a Thanksgiving dress every year.
Do you like to be around animals?
Wow, I do. I have 2 sheep. No, 1 sheep and 2 goats. We used to have 3 goats, remember Rosie?
Yeah.
But she passed away. And we have chickens, right? We have a rooster and 6 hens, and then we have a dog. We just got our rescue dog, JJ. So yes, I love animals. And actually one of the animals that I drew a lot when I was a child, when I was your age, I was horsey girl crazy. I used to draw horses all the time. I loved horses so much. I still do. But you know, horses are expensive and we don't have horses here. I would love to have horses here, but we don't have that right now.
We do have a barn, but not a proper barn.
No, not a barn for horses.
Thank you for letting me interview you, Grandma.
Of course, Mia, I'm happy to do it. Thanks for the idea. It was all yours.
Yeah.
Let's go have dinner, okay?
Yeah, obviously, anything.